Alright, so for the recap, um, yeah, I'm not sure what more can be said. The first game was starting off a little bit rocky, so I was almost ready to just maybe this was way too early to feel this way, but I have been experimenting with a lot of different versions of this deck with Channeler, and sure, I got some 4-1s here and there. I also got some 3-2s. I also got some 2-3s. It just wasn't really feeling like I had that magic from the Obosh version. And I do plan to test the Obosh version a bit in this field because maybe that deck is still as bonkers as last time, and maybe that I have to get a feel for that before I can adequately compare how the two compare in this new meta. But yeah, I mean it's too early to tell if this is an outlier or if this really shows the deck's power. But really, like, things were firing right basically the whole time for the most part. I mean, even there was some misplays obviously, but the deck was delivering quite well even in the face of that misplay in Jund. There's something to be said that when the deck still is possibly bailing you out, you may be onto something. Um, Cards I was impressed with: Shatterskull Summit, or I should say Shatterskull Smashing. This card really, really surprised me with how good it was. I did actually play that last I did play that in a previous league, possibly a few actually. I didn't record all of them, but yeah. This card, I think this card is probably a staple in the non-Obosh versions. I think that it's good enough. This together with Seasoned Pyromancer are good enough to dissuade me from playing Jegantha. It's just the grind power is just unbelievable. And against Death Shadow, having these tokens that Seasoned Pyromancer produces is just so invaluable. It's a game changer. I think Death Shadow is quite unfavored in the Jegantha version because it doesn't have Seasoned Pyromancer. I think we are definitely favored when we have Seasoned Pyromancer. Of course, anything can happen. They can strip our hand like that one game and then beat us down with an Angler, but this is good. I like Pyromancer in that matchup a lot. Magmatic Channeler, I think, really overperformed too. A lot of times it was a 4-4, like in that one game against Jeskai Control. Good thing by game 3, finally it hit me. Wait a minute, I want to basically try to wait until this is a 4-4, because that's going to be kind of hard for them to deal with. And maybe I don't want to sideboard in Relics, because maybe I need my graveyard more than they need theirs. And yeah, as we saw, when I had multiple Magmatic Channelers, they were kind of struggling to deal with them. Of course, not every matchup is like that, but actually it's very surprising. What's also surprising is how often it was a 4-4, despite the fact that we actually only play 20 spells, and one of them is most of the time going to be a land. But we actually did see how Shatterskull Smashing is very nice, because if it happens to go to the graveyard, either when we play it, which is usually not until relatively late in the game, or more often when we pitch it with Channeler, it actually does pump the Channeler. So that's very nice. Really surprised me how often it was a 4-4. I think that's a little bit of an outlier though, because in some of my previous leagues, even ones where I did have the usual 20 creatures instead of 24 in this version, it felt like it was not really a full 4 that often. But then again though, not I think most of those versions didn't have Shatterskull Smashing, and there's something to be said about that. Shatterskull Smashing again just very much surprised me. It was a burn spell a lot, and not only was it a burn spell, but whenever it was a burn spell, often it was a great burn spell, killing 2 creatures against humans. Probably that was a game changer. Killing Scavenging Oozes, killing Death Shadows, killing Gurmag Anglers. It's insane. It actually it's a land, and it's also possibly one of the few burn spells that can bail you out of situations where no other burn spell really will do it. Um, you know, I could totally be wrong about this, but this card might actually be the more impressive of the two than Channeler. Very, very, very surprisingly good. Surprisingly good as a land. Even when it had to come into play untapped, the 3 life rarely made that big of a difference. You could play it tapped in a lot of spots too. Very good as a burn spell. Wow. yeah, and I like the sideboard. Ratchet Bomb came in a lot, but of course I faced a lot of Death Shadow lately. Um, yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a lot of Boggles or a lot of matchups with some type of enchantment like Shaper's Sanctuary we got to deal with. Um, or a lot of pro-red creatures for that matter. We haven't seen a lot of them yet, or token strategies. There's other applications to this, but we did see one of the main reasons to bring this in, and that's Death Shadow. But we brought in 2 copies, and John, I don't think we ever saw it, but that's nice to deal with. That's a nice clean answer to Ooze and Goyf. Sure, they can preemptively answer it, but you know, um, yeah, it's usually nicer than whatever card we're taking out, just because it does represent like an answer that's sort of like that's sort of like something they can deal with. But if they don't deal with it, then it can be an answer to some of their most powerful plays. Abrade, we saw how useful that was in humans. I do think, again, if you are not on Obosh, I think Abrade edges out Spree, although there will be games where spreeing for 1 makes a difference, or being able to replicate it makes a difference, and makes it superior. But particularly in this version where I don't have Flame Slash, I think I really need the extra 3 toughness creature removal as well. So it's actually a double sideboard slot. It's more creature removal and it's artifact removal. Don't know what more to say. I think having the 2 Horizon lands and the 4 Shatterskull Smashings has been pretty good. I was wondering for a while if I needed the 2 Horizon lands. Surprisingly, the deck still seems to flood a little bit, even with so many utility lands. But I think this is right about the sweet spot. I don't think I can play 4 Horizon lands and 4 of these Shatterskull Smashings. I think that's being way too greedy. But 2 seems about right so far, and we'll see. I like how this deck was very aggressive, like against that Sultai Uro deck. Got under them really quick, and boy oh boy did this deck grind too when it needed to. Of course the same can be said more or less for the Obosh version. I also like the skill in the Obosh version of, knowing when to put Obosh into your hand. There's actually a lot of interesting decisions that go into playing that version, and of course there are interesting decisions in this version. This version was a blast to play, though. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want this version to be better. I'm not sure that it is, but there's so many options. I love how you've got a land that also is a pretty decent burn spell, very surprisingly decent burn spell. Obviously, it's only playable because it's also a land. This would be a terrible burn spell if this didn't also function as a land. But this right here actually may show that some of the other lands that are also spells may have some application. Because I kind of overlooked this at first, because I remember thinking to myself, wait a minute, didn't red have some type of land that you could come and play untapped? And I'm like, this actually might not be that bad. But I'm not gonna lie, when I first looked at it, I'm just like, I would never play this. This burn spell sucks, you know. But as we saw, even a very, very inefficient burn spell can still be very good. And yeah, we will see. But this deck was a blast to play. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Hopefully we can replicate these results, and look forward to maybe mixing it up. I do want to re-explore the Obosh version, but this was a blast. All right. And obviously I keep forgetting this, but please be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell when you subscribe so you get notifications when I upload new videos. I've been uploading a lot lately. I try to record a number of games during the weekend, and I usually sprinkle them out during the week. Thankfully, I've got a number of videos recorded, so I think I'm going to be good with content for a while. So subscribe, and I'm trying to upload about 2 videos a day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. So anyway, we'll see if I keep up with that rate of videos, but so far it seems to be working. So all right, hope everybody enjoys this, and take care.